I've got a completely renovated turnkey house in a Cleveland area suburb. On top of that, I'm introducing you to a brand new market. Let's dive in. Hey real estate investors, welcome to another episode of the Investment Properties for Sale Show. I am your host, James Wise, and I have an action-packed show for you today. We have a pretty cool turnkey single-family property. My partner, Nick Varner, I own several companies. One of those companies that I am partnered with Nick on is a company called Black Tie Title. Black Tie Title is a title company, obviously, that handles title and escrow services for all of Ohio. So when you guys are purchasing real estate here in the Cleveland market, a lot of you have been using Black Tie Title. They're able to take care of all the title and escrow issues for you. Make sure you get clear and marketable title every single time you do a transaction. We also promote Ohio Cash Flow. Those guys are out there in the Toledo market. So Black Tie Title is able to handle all of their title needs for you. So anytime you're purchasing a property through Ohio Cash Flow, feel free to utilize the services of Black Tie Title. So you know you're getting a title company you can trust. You don't have to worry about anything funky happening with your money when you're wiring in. Because you're wiring in a lot of money. There are title scams out there where people are wiring in money and then poof, it's gone. So you don't want that to ever happen. Title is never thought about, but it is incredibly important. There's a lot of money changing hands. So make sure you're using a title company that you know and trust. But before I show you Nick's property, you see Nick on top of all the title work, he also flips real estate out here in the Cleveland market. Before we get into the full video tour of that project, I want to talk about something new. I've got a brand new market. In that market, this is one of the most popular but also most controversial turnkey markets in the USA. That is Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, I say popular because tons of investors are going down to that market to purchase rental real estate. It is literally one of the most popular turnkey markets out there. But like I said, it's also one of the most controversial. One of the main reasons that Indianapolis is so controversial is all that stuff that happened with Clayton Morris, Morris Invest, and Oceanpointe Property Management. You may have read the articles online. If you haven't, click in the show notes below. I have linked to them. There are a decent chunk of investors who are claiming that Morris Invest, Clayton Morris, and or Oceanpointe Property Management has defrauded them out of money when they were investing in turnkey real estate. You see, Morris Invest, Clayton Morris on his YouTube channel and his other various marketing, he promoted the Indianapolis market. So, long story short, there are a decent chunk of investors out there who are claiming they were harmed, and we're seeing a lot of people trying to exit that market, or people are just very nervous because there's like a lot of real estate that was sold, but a lot of investors out there who don't know what to do with it because none of that stuff worked out. Now, I have actually been working on production of an episode of Landlords From Hell where I dive into the whole situation because this thing's like an onion, man. On one side, we got investors claiming that Morris Invest screwed them out of money. On the other side, Morris Invest, he's put out stuff that says, oh, I didn't screw anybody out of money. It was actually the third party. It was Oceanpointe and this owner of Oceanpointe named Bert, Whalen. The whole thing is a mess, so I've been working to interview everyone on every side of this thing. I've talked to investors, and I have on-camera interviews from investors who claim to have been harmed by Morris. I've talked to property managers down in Indianapolis who have claimed to work with over 80 investors who were harmed by Morris. I've actually talked on the phone to Clayton Morris himself. We had a phone conversation a little over an hour. Me and him talked about this whole saga. Now, as of right now, he has not agreed to come on camera and talk on the record. So I'm not going to go into the complete details of what him and I spoke about just yet. Although the invitation is out there, Clayton. If you would like to come on my show and tell your side of the story when I air this episode of Landlords from Hell, please, I would love to have you on. I have no intention or no desire to make a video just slamming Clayton Morris or Morris Invest. I know that this thing is multifaceted, multi-layered. There are people involved on multiple sides of this thing, and I want to get the story from every single angle. I want to hear what Clayton has to say himself, because I will tell you, everything I talked to him about on the phone, again, he hasn't agreed to come on the record and actually appear on our show, but a lot of the stuff that he said to me, there are some things out there that made sense. Like, he's talking about some things in relation to this story that didn't necessarily make it in the New York Times article or the Indianapolis Star article. So it's a multi-layered situation, but there's still more people to talk about. So anyone else who's watching this right now, if you have worked with Morris Invest or purchased properties and you've dealt with Morris Invest or Oceanpointe or Bert, Whalen, please contact us. My team will reach out to you. We would love to get your story. We want to get as many people's story on the record as possible. So when we produce this episode, it is the most educational piece out there on the entire Morris Invest saga. I want the masses, I want all the real estate investors out there who are, taking in all of this content. You're seeing the content on this channel, you're seeing the content on other channels. I want you guys to have the most accurate and transparent education out there, so when you choose which turnkey providers to invest your hard-earned money with, you have all that information at your disposal. So with all of that said, all of that mess, all of that stuff that's going on in the upcoming Landlords from Hell episode about that, you can see that there is a ton of stuff happening in Indianapolis. And at least right now, it appears that the property managers out there, have not satisfied the investor need, and there's a lot of investors who are confused. What do they do with their properties? We got guys trying to liquidate out of their properties. People are scrambling, looking for property managers. The Indianapolis market, though, the market itself is a solid market. That's why it's so popular. That's why you get a big name like Clayton Morris who entered the turnkey space, and he chose that market because there is a lot happening in that market. Now, he has since exited that market, and of course, there's a lot of people claiming in his exit there's still a wake of destruction going on down there. Whether or not it had to do with him, I don't know. That is yet to be seen. But what I do know is there is huge demand for investors to invest in the Indianapolis market because the market itself is strong, the price points are great, the rental demand is incredibly high. So investors like you, you're interested in that market, but what do? Who do you go to? And that is why I have decided to take Holton Wise into that market. We have partnered up with some ground partners, and the ground partner I want to talk to you about today is FS Houses. What I really like about FS Houses is they're pretty similar to what we do here at Holton Wise. You see, most turnkey companies, the only way they operate is they buy distressed real estate, they own it themselves now, they then renovate it themselves, and then they sell it to you with a tenant in it. But that's always going to be at a premium price because when they're selling you the property, they are the owner. So it would be crazy for you to assume that they're going to sell it to you at any type of a discount, because that's not really like you're not getting like a discount by being a good investor. You're literally just taking the money out of their pocket. Nobody's just going to give you money in this business, guys. It's not going to happen. That doesn't mean that that traditional turnkey model of them buying it, renovating it, and selling it to you is bad. It's not. It's a very strong model. I just want to make it clear that you understand that you're not really buying these properties with equity, right? Because the turnkey provider markets are tight. They have a lot of infrastructure. They got a market to find these properties. They have to have systems in place to actually renovate these things. So that model is a good model. I'm not poo-pooing on the traditional turnkey model. But what I like about FS Houses is you get a little bit more options, and that's what we do here at Holton Wise. They also broker real estate, and they market and they cater to real estate investors. So you can purchase the traditional turnkey stuff with them where they've controlled the asset. They've gone in, they've bought it, they own it, they've placed the tenant in it, and you're buying it directly from them. But you can also reach out to them, and they will find you properties on the market that are already distressed, and through them, they will renovate the home for you. So if you're doing that, you have the opportunity to go the incredibly safe route, the controlled turnkey route where they own the asset, have already renovated it, and you're getting a finished product. It's more or less wrapped with a bow on it. Or for those more entrepreneurial investors out there who want to really dig their teeth into this, get in there and try to force some equity with a lot of cash at play and are willing to accept longer timelines of renovations and a little bit more risk and getting in there, getting it done, you can go their model where they just sell you investment real estate, and then afterwards they'll renovate it, they'll put tenants in there, and you get the whole turnkey service, but the property at the time you purchase it isn't completely turnkey. So you got options, and that's how we do it up here in Cleveland with Holton Wise. That's what I really like. I have known about this company for years. I've met the owner, Ryan Mullen, on Bigger Pockets several years ago. This guy is a class act. So I want to quickly go to a piece that we've put together about FS Houses so you guys get a little bit more of an idea of who they are, what they do, what they've got to offer.
Based in Indianapolis, Indiana, FS Houses is the premier investment property brokerage. With an in-house property management department that can take care of all those unwanted landlord headaches, FS Houses can offer you the complete turnkey solution as well as wholesale properties offered to you at a discounted rate. With a network of thousands of active investors, wholesalers, and brokers, FS Houses can help you sell your property for top dollar on the open market or in a hurry to motivated investors seeking distressed real estate. Visit fshouses.com or call 317-492-9025 for more information on the Indianapolis, Indiana real estate.
Welcome back. If you guys want to contact FS Houses, I have put all of their contact info in the show notes below. Now here's the thing. I want to make this very clear. I have vetted FS Houses. I know they are an honest company, or at least I believe they're an honest company, but I can't control everything, once it leaves my doors. This is a separate company. So what I want you to do, which is something that it appears a lot of the investors who are having trouble in Indianapolis didn't do when they invested with Oceanpointe and Morris, I want you to do your due diligence. I want you to put those guys through the ringer. I believe they will have no problem passing your test. So what I'm talking about, reach out to them, right? Click the show notes below, grab their contact info, send them your information, start discussing things with them. And then when you go buy properties, especially the properties that are like wholesale properties that need rehab, make sure you are going into this doing your due diligence. Get a third-party inspection, right? Get an inspection so you know exactly what you're getting. Run comps. You want to see the comps of the neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with buying a $30,000 house in a D-class neighborhood, so long as you know that it is a $30,000 house in a D-class neighborhood that needs a renovation. The problem is, if somebody sells you a $30,000 house in a D-class neighborhood that needs renovation, but in fact they told you it was a B-class house that doesn't need renovation, already has a tenant in it, and they sold it to you for $80,000. That's where you run into trouble, right? But we can make money in real estate by taking troubled properties that give other people trouble, and we could push our capital, our work, our sweat equity, we could push that into those deals, and that's how we make money. We make money in real estate by solving problems. And I think the team at FS Houses is the perfect team to solve a lot of the problems in Indianapolis. On top of that, anybody watching this who still has properties that they purchased from Morris Invest, Clayton Morris, or were being managed by Oceanpointe, if you are still hanging on to this real estate and you have lost your vendor, you don't know what to do with it, you're having property management issues, you guys can also click those show notes below and contact FS Houses, explain to them what you've got, tell them what the address of your property is, and see what solution they can work out for you. Maybe they can go in, renovate it, get you a tenant, get the property performing, and continue on as your long-term property manager. Maybe you're ready to liquidate and it's time to just get out of that market. If that's what you want to do, they can sell that property to their network of buyers. So that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to reach out to them and let's see if we can help all the investors out there in Indianapolis who are having a hard time. Now we're going to go to another quick commercial break, and then we're going to get into the video tour of that renovated Cleveland property.
Selling some of your smaller real estate holdings is a great way to raise the funds necessary to maximize the growth of your real estate portfolio. A 1031 exchange can benefit you greatly by allowing you to defer your capital gains tax so you can use those funds towards the purchase of more real estate instead. You are going to need a qualified intermediary in your corner. Dave Foster is a degreed accountant with a track record of successfully serving as a qualified intermediary for thousands of clients. Dave and his team would love the opportunity to see if a 1031 exchange is right for you. To set up a free consultation with Dave and his team, call 850-889-1031 or visit the1031investor.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. Without further ado, let's get into it. 19701 Mayfair Lane, Warrensville Heights, Cleveland, Ohio, 44128. Now, this is a beautiful turnkey property, totally renovated. Everything has been done top to bottom. We have priced this thing at $79,900. It's got 3 beds, 1 bath. It is completely POS clear. As a matter of fact, getting it POS clear was a big pain in the ass. You see, the owner of this property, as I said earlier, this is my business partner from Black Tie Title, Nick Varner. Outside of running Black Tie Title's daily operations, he renovates distressed real estate here in the Cleveland market, and through his wife, Juliana, who's a realtor here at Holton Wise, we sell it to investors like you, so you guys have the opportunity to buy completely turnkey real estate. Now, it's currently vacant, but the market rent on this bad boy is going to be $1,100 a month. And to get it from where it was when he picked it up in the distressed form that it was in to this beautiful turnkey piece that you guys see here today, it was a little bit of a struggle. So I'm going to let Nick tell you in his own words exactly everything he had to do to get it from point A to point B.
Hi guys, really happy to show you my latest property here in Warrensville Heights. It's a single family property. When I bought this property, I had not even been inside the property before. So I was really looking at a report from the city. I bought the property completely as is. So there was about $21,000 in point of sale escrow from the city of Warrensville Heights when I got here. The people that I was buying this property from were owner occupants. They had held this house for about 30 years as their family home. They were heavy smokers, so all the walls here were covered in residue and tar and things like that. So it was, had great bones to it, but at the same time, had a lot of cosmetics to do, and then also some heavy lifting projects as well. So that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today. Buying a property as is and some of the things that you can go through. So yes, you can get great deals if you structure your deals to be very easy for the seller. So hey guys, you got a problem, I'm going to take it off your hands nice and easy, fast, 7 days as is. But at the same time, then you as the investor can go through different problems. So let me show you a few of those. So the reality is when you get a home inspection or when a city inspects the property, they might say something like, the drain is clogged or something like that. The reality is that most home inspectors are not going to be able to go through and look at the entire drain with a camera, for example. You can get some plumbing services to do that for around $400 to $500 to go through with a camera. But even still, if the camera is blocked off enough, do you really know whether that you're going to be able to simply snake out the drain, or that it might be a bigger problem? So in this case, this drain was draining slow, but I really had no idea what the extent of that problem was going to be. So coming in here to the bathroom, really same issue. You know, this water was not really properly draining, and also the family had moved out several years ago. So in retrospect now, you just kind of wonder, like, did that family move out because things were just inoperable in the house and they had to maybe move somewhere else because maybe they didn't have the money to make those repairs at the time? So then let's go down into the basement and let me show you. This kind of just talks about a little bit of the problem solving that you have to do on these projects. So you know that there's a problem with the drains, but you don't really know what the extent is. And some of these projects, even if you get in a home inspection or you get a plumbing company, until you get into these projects, you're not really all the time going to know exactly what's wrong, what's not wrong. So here as well, this is nice because there's a sump pump in the house. There's very few properties that have that. We had to replace the GFI here and get this sump pump entirely operable. So that's a nice feature to the house, but at the same time, that was completely flooded out as well and just inoperable. So we had to fix that. Obviously we put in a brand new furnace and hot water tank. But here, this is the main stack, right? This is the main sewer stack. And then you have, you have these two coming down from the bathroom and the kitchen, right? So we capped this line off. To this day, this particular line, we don't really have an idea of whether or not we could snake that particular line out. What we did was we did snake this one out here. This is all new PEX. So this was all cast iron, but then we looked in and we replaced this with PEX, and this was a place where we could clear out the lines. And at that point, we were able to snake this one out. So we were able to get the drains to start working again after we did this. Now, we thought this one would drain too. We weren't really able to snake that one out. So what we did was this line, we put that over to this line, which we knew was clear. So that was some of the problem solving that my plumbers and I had to work through. Unfortunately, we had to snake out with like a heavy duty snake. So there's different grades of snakes, right? And a snake, for those of you at home who are not familiar with that term, a snake basically is something that you would take and you would push it through. Like it's essentially just plunging the entire plumbing drain. So it's like essentially forcing to push whatever's stopping this from draining. You're trying to push it through to the main stack. And at some point, these things, these drains all come together underneath the house and then they go out into the street. So like right here, we don't know exactly where the drains are running to, right? But at some point, they're gonna probably run together and join, and then they're gonna go out to the street. So then we're gonna have wastewater and then we're gonna have sewage. Those are typically separate lines. They go out to the street. You also have water lines going out into the street. So water coming in and out, waste going out. And so you need to make sure that those are clear. Now in the point of sale, there are plenty of violations to talk about, including plumbing, electric, a lot of other cosmetics and things that are happening. But we had no idea that like what the extent of the plumbing problem was. This could have been a simple like $300 to $500 plumbing job, or what ended up happening was it was a significantly bigger problem. When we started to snake out, we called in a professional company that they had like a very strong snake, and they put a camera down into the line, right? Now, when they put the camera down in the line, they were able to push out so that things could start draining, right? So that was good. But they discovered underneath the house to the street that they just suspected that it was going to be a problem within 1 to 2 months, right? So they could tell that like there was a piece of the pipe that was a little bit disconnected. So at some point, the reason these people were having backups and probably weren't even able to live in the house was probably because of that issue. So now I'm going to take you outside and go through that project and what that was like to essentially dig up the entire ground from the foundation of the house to the street. Okay, so coming outside here, whoa, what happened to this yard? So this is where we dug up the whole line from the street. So we knew that the sewer line was leaving the house right about here. And we'll show you also some during the project pictures as well. But you can kind of see here still there's remnants left over from the actual pipe itself. It's a clay pipe. And this was put in the ground in 1955, right? So this is original to the house. The pipe then we put in, that's going to be long after I am long and gone in this world. That pipe will still be there, right? Because it's a very sturdy, thick material. It's plastic, and we put a bed of rock around it, so it's very stabilized. We'll show you that as well in some pictures. But when doing this project, of course, I do not currently own a backhoe, so I had to find a company who this is really their bread and butter. Like this is what their speciality is. And so what they did was come in here. They really did this project in 1 day for me. When something like this happens to you on your projects, don't panic. It is a setback because no one wants to spend extra money to replace big ticket items like this. But you really also can bid out the job and understand that there are other people, a bunch of people in the marketplace that will offer this service. And so this ended up costing me about $10,000. So the project entailed digging 9 feet down into the ground because that's where the sewer and the water lines are all coming out. Potentially it's typical that you could break water lines as well as you're digging down into the ground. In this case, we were very lucky and we didn't. But if we had, the water had been turned off at the street and we would have simply replaced the line at that time as well. Then we were able to replace the entire pipe. The process took 1 day. They really put rock around it so it's stabilized, and then they backfilled what they had dug up back into the ground. Now this is probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago that this happened, and now it's starting to settle. So you really shouldn't be touching this stuff because it's the earth has been moved, and so like it does settle, and at some point we will tamp this all down. We'll level it. We're going to use some of it to grade away from the house, and then we're going to throw mulch down here. We have to reseed the yard with grass, and then we'll put hay over the top so that the seed stays in place. But you really want to leave this sit for probably at least 3 to 4 weeks and let that settle, because actually a couple of weeks ago that area there was just as high as that area. So we've had a lot of rain in the Cuyahoga Valley. And so, that's now all come down. So we'll likely move some of this dirt over there and level it across the board, and then reseed, put hay down, and it will look great again in probably maybe 2 seasons, right? So what to learn from this? Look, no one wants to do projects like this, but this is part of being a real estate investor. So you have to understand that there's certain amounts of risk that you take buying properties as is. I would say this probably happens, once or twice out of every 100 buys you make, right? In this case, probably no one would have noticed that, a home inspector is not going to notice this unless you take a camera straight through the line, which is not very common and it's very expensive. So do you want to then, every time you do a home inspection, you can call out companies that do a camera down through the line. In this market, they cost around $400 to $500 to do that. So you just kind of have to run the math between how many properties am I going to buy, what's my risk tolerance, how likely is this event. I can tell you from my experience, it's probably going to be 1 to 2% of all houses you buy. You're going to be responsible for doing a project like this at some point in the remodeling process, or at some point during the process. You know, if your lines are all backed up with the plumbing, you just can't figure out what's going on, you try to snake it over and over again, yeah, you might have an issue like I had here. Other things I learned about this project, you see like the front steps, I had to replace those. So that was a point of sale violation. I knew about that the entire time. However, in this particular city, one thing I was unaware of was that typically that type of project probably would cost me $1,000 to $1,500 to replace with either wood or, you know, simple concrete. But in this city's case, they wanted these steps to match every other step in the neighborhood. So this is sandstone, and so that ended up being a $3,700 project for me versus $1,000. But then some things, you know, the city was very gracious about in terms of, well, you've done really good work here, so, you know, overall, like, it's in good shape. Like, you don't have to redo all the concrete, for example. And so you can somewhat, like, a little bit negotiate, especially if you're working in good faith with cities. If they see that, you know, you're trying to add value to the community, a lot of times some stuff they may let go. Some stuff they're going to want it specifically how they want it. So understanding the city that you're working in as an investor is really important. Learning about that. The best way to do it, though, is to do it. Ask questions first to your building department. And also understand this. If you're a retail investor and you want passive income, don't take on projects like this. So don't get cute. Don't think that, like, oh, well, I'll just buy a property for $20,000 and then I'll get some contractor to put 20 grand of work in. Well, first of all, your variance could be $10,000 to $20,000 less than what you need. That contract you get might not do as good a job as you would like them to do. And, you know, how much time do you have in your day? If you're an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor, you know, buy this property from a guy like me after they're done with all the work and after they've gone through all that. You can write one check to a bank and get passive income. If you are an active investor and you want to do a property like this, you know, you need to have a certain level of risk tolerance. I hear from investors a lot, like, oh, it's $20 for a wiring fee or whatever. If those are the types of issues that you're focused on, this is probably not going to be the type of industry that you want to get involved in, because the variance and the risk tolerance is just too great. There's a lot of things that can happen on these projects, both positively and negatively, where, wow, I saved a lot of money there because the floors look like they're in great shape. I don't have to replace them. Or in this case, the right thing to do was to replace this line because the house really wasn't usable without doing this project.
All right, good content out of Nick. I love when Nick has his properties ready to hit the market, because it is great educational content for those do-it-yourselfers out there, right? This is quality stuff. We've provided like 2 separate things here, right? Option 1, if you want to go the traditional turnkey route, you can pick up a property where somebody like Nick has already went in and did all the dirty work, dealt with all that bullshit that you just saw him talking about. You don't have to deal with any of that. You can pick this thing up for $79.9. You know, use other people's money. You go ahead and you get a loan, a 30-year loan, low interest. If you need a lender, by the way, shoot me your contact info. I'll get you my lender list. You go ahead and put down your 25%. The bank's going to pay the other 75%. Then the tenant's going to pay off that loan. Nick got his hands dirty, did the whole mess. Boom, you're making cash flow from day one. You don't have anything to worry about. That's nice. But my guy Nick, even though he's a solid operator, he's a good dude, I own business with him, he's not leaving money on the table, guys, right? He's not selling you this property under market value. So if you're out there like, oh man, we got to get equity, we need to force appreciation, we need to buy it with meat on the bone. That is not how you get meat on the bone, guys. The only meat on the bone is going to be eaten by my guy Nick, because he had to deal with all that bullshit. Which is why we like to make these videos, though. So for all of you out there who want that meat on the bone for yourself, all those guys out there that are greedy, you want to make sure that you're the one that gets the equity. What you got to do, you got to smash that subscribe button and continue watching our content here on Holton Wise TV, because that's why we produce these videos. That's why we produce these shows. All that stuff that you just learned from Nick, that is great information that you can put up here in the noggin and put that in practice in your own home market. It don't matter what market you're in. Any market in the United States of America, you're able to pick up distressed assets, guys, right? You need to find a distressed asset. You find distressed assets by finding distressed sellers. People get divorced everywhere. It's not just Cleveland or Indianapolis or Birmingham, Alabama, where people get divorced, people get sick, people lose their jobs. You know, all these situations, they lead sellers to having distressed properties, and they're in distressed situations and they need to liquidate. So if you want to do the do-it-yourself stuff, again, smash that subscribe button and we're going to give you the tools to put into play in your own market. Or if you just want to invest your funds, you want to continue operating your day job and you want a safe place to park your funds and you don't want to deal with all the mess, that's great. We'll be able to sell you the properties after they're already done. This property, if you want to buy it, you can shoot me an email at jameswise@holtonwise.com, or in the show notes, I have put Nick's wife, Juliana. I've put her contact info in there for you. She's a realtor here at Holton Wise. You can reach out to them directly and purchase this totally turnkey asset. You don't have to do any of the hard work. That's all I've got for you guys today. As always, I'm James Wise with Holton Wise, and this is Real Estate Investing Made Easy.
Cleveland, Ohio is widely considered to be one of the top rental markets in the entire United States. This is because here in Cleveland, our housing prices are low and our rental prices and demand are high. At Holton Wise, we provide the complete turnkey solution for all real estate investors, whether they are local, out of state, or even abroad. As real estate brokers, we will provide you with agent representation to help you buy properties ranging from single-family homes to large apartment complexes. We even have referrals for lenders who can provide investment property loans to investors located in all 50 states, allowing you to capitalize on the use of leverage or other people's money. We have referrals to top-notch title companies so you know that all of your transactions are safe and secure, with every single property being delivered to you with clear title. Once you close on the property, we have an investor-focused insurance brokerage who can handle all your property insurance needs. This insurance brokerage handles auto, home, life, and business policies, but they specialize in working with policies for landlords. We also have full-service property management. We can handle all rental property advertisements, tenant placement, rent collection, evictions, maintenance, landscaping, construction, and repairs. In addition, Holton Wise also offers digital media and education. One day, when you are ready to sell your investment, Holton Wise, as the #1 seller of investment properties in the greater Cleveland area, can market your property in a video just like this one to our worldwide base of investors who are looking to capitalize on the high cash flow opportunities in the Cleveland, Ohio market. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our latest content, including video tours and analysis of investment properties that are available for sale, real estate investment education, and our most interesting encounters with tenants from hell. Holton Wise, real estate investing made easy.